Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Business, and there's been a lot of crazy shit happening on stream lately, so I've got a lot of content to work with. I can't even get to any of the reviews or any of the user replays. Yeah, and that was 10,600 damage on 9 hits on the side of the Fuso there with the Molotov. That New Mexico's AFK, by the way, so that's why I'm charging in here. And again, I'm not entirely sure why I'm actually charging a Fuso, but yeah, so you see my follow-up salvo here is a bit too forward, and I hit a few shells on the turrets and that sort of thing. I only had one penetrate, actually no, two overpens there, so pretty bad damage. I readjust my aim towards midships there, where the armor's a little weaker, and seem to get a little bit better of a result there, and try that again. And I'm anticipating some not good stuff coming my way from this guy, but he's still shooting HE, so that's at least a plus. So I already had a decent dodge against him, although that could be construed as being like, that was probably just RG on his part, so unfortunately for him. But another 5,000 damage there, and see the Bogue in the back. I'm going to fire at him and switch the spectator mode so I can see the torps go into the New Mexico, because I wasn't really sure how much damage I did, only about 9,000. End up getting a Citadel on the Bogue as well, so I probably should have shot at I can't believe that salvo missed too. I probably should have shot at the Fuso instead of the Bogue. It was just a matter of me expecting to die. And yeah, Quebec Unite manages to take out the Fuso for me, though. Helps me out well, just quite a hell of a lot there. Now, my salvos here, unfortunately, against the Bogue and upcoming with the Independence, yeah, I really should have switched to HE. This is a classic case of just, if you don't hit the exact spot for these ships that you need to, you're not going to do shit for damage, because they just have so little armor as it is. And look at this. Okay. I guess I got to practice against some more Independences and Bogues in the training room, because that shouldn't have happened. But switch the camera. Check this out. That was a close quarters expert. And Confederate, double strike, and devastating strike. That was fucking awesome. What a fantastic opportunity there. But I'm amazed that I got close quarters expert on that. That was just totally unexpected. So switch up to Colorado a little later in the stream, and that Furitaka looked like I was lining him up initially. He started to turn in, decided to switch targets. Fuso didn't seem all that viable. Just taking a good long look at this Pensacola here, who's been harassing Raltus and his York, and see those shells coming down right in the middle. Knockout punch right there, hell yeah. And speaking of knockout punches, yeah, the North Carolina, I'm loving this damn thing. This is my go-to ship right now. I mean, and it feels weird saying that, because like I haven't consistently played tier 8, which used to be my favorite tier by far in the game. I haven't really played that heavily all that much over the last, I would say, 6 to 8 months. It just, stopped appealing to me, and I focus more on, tier 6, and, over, since December-ish, a lot of tier 7 matches, and, I just think that this change is really welcome. It brings a lot more parity, a lot more choice to tier 8 battleships, but for this guy, he may want to run up the ladder a little faster, because that Warspite just took 27,000 damage from 7 shell hits. Ouch. That was a pretty nasty hit. And, the Warspite, I want to mention, I really just don't think it has much of a place anymore in the game. It's just so soft, and the superstructure takes a massive amount of damage. The deck, the bow armor, all of it is pretty damn weak. I think the guns are excellent when they actually hit. They have really high shell penetration, and it's more akin to the shell penetration that you see on a Colorado, for instance. The 15s, really we only have the Warspite and the Turpits with their 15s. they're damn good. Like, you really shouldn't underestimate them at all. So, managed to knock out the Warspite here, and I'm taking shots from all sorts of different ships. Look at that, 3 different ships right there. And I think a 4th one there for good measure, so I think that was the New Orleans. But, yeah, I try to put myself in situations where, you know, high risk, high reward type of thing, you know? And you guys have seen that throughout my nearly 100 videos that I've posted up. And by the way, if you have a question about a given ship, like I just said, I have almost 100 videos on this game. Feel free to check that playlist out, and you know, just hit Control F or use the search function embedded in YouTube itself. I guarantee that can answer a lot of questions. Some of the information may be outdated, but generally a lot of the stuff still applies. But speaking of applying, yeah, remember last video how I wasn't really able to get things done because I was in the slow-ass New Mexico? Well, I'm in the faster, not terribly fast, it's still the slowest of the tier 8 battleships, North Carolina, and instead of chasing those guys in the cruisers up north, I mean, if they want to keep running, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and secure a cap or two and see what I can do to get our team back in this and make sure that we secure a victory. Benson is really low health there on B, and Raltus is here kind of getting chased by the enemy Cleveland, so I got to see what I can do about that real fast. Now, I am anticipating the Benson to pop up in front of me, just to my right, so I'm only firing one of my turrets to see if I can at least have a response, just in case he shows up. So, knock out the Cleveland, and now I'm training my guns back to the right here, because I'm still detected, and I'm thinking that he's either somewhere behind me, or maybe it's that Otago that was spotting me, or he's right in front of me here, so I am kind of nervous about this. It's always when you know a destroyer's nearby and you're moving into an area around an island, that's one of the more tension-filled moments. But I launched my scout plane to try to help me out here, see if I can find this guy before he launches torps, and there he is. And again, really low health, but Raltus finds him as well, and you can see his shells are just a little bit faster than mine. So he secures the kill there against the enemy Benson, and finally, I finally get my sweet justice against the New Orleans after chasing him and sending, I probably sent at least 8 salvos against him and hardly did much of anything to him, but secured the Kraken there as well. And now the Otago that I was sort of chasing, well, we're back to chasing him, so. And, you know, I'm just kind of whittling him down a bit, you know, hit by hit, just managing to get a couple hits here, 3 hits there, 1 hit, you know, that sort of thing. But take a look at the match counter up at the top there, 994, 998 points, and I've got that 1 shell on the left. The match goes to 1,000, but I get the kill. Yeah. Now, north. We've got a little bit to talk about here. So the start of this match, I'm just telling the team to be prepared because at some point we're going to have a cyclone and we need to make sure that given the disadvantage we have in both destroyers and battleships, as you see in the top right, we need to be prepared and we need to work together to make this happen. And first enemy up is a gearing, unfortunately. Not really all that successful against hitting gearings, and whatever, unless I'm dangerously close, and that's really just not a place you really ever want to be against a top tier destroyer like that. But our gearing hasn't been faring so well. He's already lost about half his health, and there's a gearing, there's a New Orleans, there's a few other ships over there that have kind of made things a little bit more problematic for him. So unfortunately he's I think going up against a Benson over there right now, and that's not working out well for anybody. And speaking of not working out well, our Tashkent is taking a couple team torps there, so just took 2 and lost a shitload of health right when an enemy gearing shows up, and yeah, naturally he dies. So pretty unfortunate start to this match, and there goes our gearing. So things are not looking up, and of course that's the Shimikaze, that wave of torps off to my left. So we got to figure something out here pretty quick. Now, I was expecting this gearing to be long gone, but amazingly, he decides to stick around, and yeah, he's a sitting duck. And it seems like it takes forever for these shells to come down, but I actually missed on the first 2 turrets, but my C turret managed to get the hits and kill them off, so yay. Now, unfortunately, those torps, I'm pretty sure those were from the gearing, end up hitting the Baltimore, and he loses about 20,000 HP, so that's also not good. And enemy Hipper there shows his side. Got a nice bit of distance to cover there, but take a look at these shots. Pretty damn good dispersion. Unfortunately, it turned out a little bit more than I was hoping, and I only had 1 hit. Luckily, it was a Citadel, so that's good. But other than that, right now, just taking a look at the mini-map, pay attention to the fact that there's an enemy battleship on the 9 line. We know the Kagero is with him, so it's an enemy Tirpitz and Kagero on the 9 line. There's the Shimikaze that's just south of the main island here in the center. The Benson, there he is, very low health, he's almost down, and New Orleans are over there on the west, or I think that's the west. Yeah, it's the west. And there's also the Yamato over there too, and he just popped up on the radar there. There he goes. So I don't recommend doing what I'm doing right now. Going backwards and broadside while a Yamato's coming around. Yeah, that's not my smartest choice, but basically my thought process was I didn't think I would get shot at for a few reasons. I mean, I'm not the first ship that he should see, and I'm not a priority compared to the destroyer right next to him, that sort of thing. But both Quebec and I sent shells at the same time and nailed him for about 20,000 HP. Now, the Cyclone is coming, so I think it's around 100 seconds before the vision finally comes down to that 8-kilometer range. There is the Tirpitz that's still over here on the 9 line, well, 10 line, and the Kagero as well, so I'm trying to direct these guys to prioritize this and clear these guys off as fast as we can. Unfortunately, we had our Tirpitz detonate, so that's his carcass, if you will, over to the left, and we're just trying to finish this guy off. There he goes. So we have reached parity as far as the points and also the ships lost are concerned. So 3 destroyers for 3 destroyers and a battleship and a battleship. So that's working out pretty well. Now, see that? You don't say that unless you've got a plan, right? And I have a plan here. So we're going to have a few cuts here that'll show how the team is grouping up, and also, just to pay attention to the chat and what I'm communicating to my teammates here. Basically, I want to get to the top part of the cap and use that as a buffer to extend effectively our detection range, because it's only down to 8 kilometers. So if we use that and we're on the top side and they get into the cap, we know where they are and we can maneuver ahead of time and be better prepared. So basically that's my plan, and you saw that in the Molotov review, actually, when I was using that to try to detect where people were and that sort of thing. So the New Orleans pops up, and there's the Yamato. Now, the Yamato, I'm not going to fire at him just yet, because one, I want to see if I can close the distance and get alongside his side, and try to get a shot flat into his citadel. Raltus is working on the New Orleans here, doing pretty well there, and he's going to get the kill here in a second. Now, he's starting to turn. I assume I'm going to be the target. I aim for the turrets, and that was huge. I just reset his reload, and he just gets nailed by Quebec for a triple citadel from the Tirpitz. So this guy just took, that's a worst case scenario, basically. He can't fire, and he just took a massive amount of damage. So just in case, we have torps coming from Quebec's Tirpitz and also Raltus's Hipper, so this guy is completely screwed. It finally goes down. So the way we worked that together was amazing. Now, I didn't actually expect this. The Amagi pops up, and I didn't pay attention to the mini-map. I thought he was by the Montana the last time I saw him, but he was actually underneath, right near A, where that was, when the cyclone came in. So I line him up, and he realizes that he's in a pretty dangerous spot here, and he's starting to turn out, but not before I get this salvo off for a healthy 31,800 damage. So things are happening pretty quick here for us. You know, we're pushing ahead. We've got a bunch of backup behind us just in case we get flanked from the south. We can all turn and manage this and try to get something done, you know, to neutralize our disadvantage, which we've been doing a pretty good job with so far. They still have 2 destroyers though, and that's a serious issue that we will have to address here in a moment. But I'm trying to see if I can knock out the Amagi's turrets here to do my best to keep Raltus alive a bit longer, and he did launch his starboard side torps even though they weren't ever going to hit the Amagi. Sometimes that torp indicator can be enough to make them behave erratically and open up their side. So the Amagi is being chased by a lot of ships, and I bring my front turrets around. It looks like he's starting to pull to his port, and he's got a full broadside here. I guess he's going for Raltus, but managed to sink another Citadel in him to finish him off. Alright, so looking at the minimap, our team had already started to turn south, and now, based off of the fact that we have some enemies showing up on our cap, and obviously on the minimap, we're all working together, all pushing right towards them. So we're obviously in a dangerous situation here because they still have a Shimakaze, they have a Montana, there's a Hipper, there's a Kagero, etc. You know, there's a lot of things going on here that I can't see just because it's out of my visual range due to the cyclone. Now the Otago just launched a bunch of torps there. You'll see them speeding right in there against the side of the Montana, and his full health down to less than half. So great job with those torps. And if you just caught a glimpse of the front of our North Carolina there, you would have seen that his front 2 turrets were knocked out. So he's going to do the most noble thing possible here and charge the Montana. And there's the kill. So so Arg my liver, nice job. That was a funny and a good play. So thank you very much for doing that. I didn't want any of those guns shooting at me, so I was just glad they were taken out. But the Otago here is getting harassed by the Hipper and the Kagero as well, so he's certainly not long for this world anymore. And while this may look like a pretty safe bet for a victory, the fact that there's still an enemy Kagero, Shimakaze, Hipper, and mainly the destroyers, that worries me. That always worries me, especially, I mean, in good circumstances where you don't have a limited vision range. You know, that's still a risky proposition, but when you're talking about being on north still in the cyclone, that's just dangerous as shit. So the Kagero pops up, and after we've taken out the Hipper, of course, the Kagero pops up, and still pretty confident that the Shimakaze is over on the right behind that tiny island there. So I have HE loading, and I'm charging in after this guy. I decide to turn to the right a bit more. I've got a bad feeling about this. Just I'm expecting torps from at least one direction right now, and there we go. So we have torps coming in dead ahead from the Kagero, and I'm glad I turned in when I did, because that potentially could have hurt a little bit more than the 13,000 damage that I take on the bow, but I also split his second rack there, so yay, that made me happy. Turns out the Shimakaze only has a couple hundred HP, and he's begging in the chat for the Des Moines not to kill him, but I line up my shots here for the front turrets, and yeah, come up short against the Kagero. Get the third turret involved, but check out Raltus's salvo coming in here. To finish it off, there's a detonation. So fucking awesome match. Really proud of that team and everybody that was on it. Like, I mean, everybody really played well, save for the yeah, the near team kill from our Benson there. That probably didn't really help matters, but nowhere near the top of the board. But again, it was just a team effort, and I'm happy to share that with you guys. I will be streaming today at 3 p.m. Eastern, so feel free to swing by and say hello and check out hopefully some more badass action. But just remember, guys, 72 years ago today, D-Day. Yeah, the greatest generation was storming the beaches, and I can scarcely imagine what that must have been like. So small or large, find a way to pay your respects. But thanks for watching today's video, and I will see you back here soon. Take care.